Alrighty, hello everybody. Welcome back to some more Osu Mania 4-Key World Cup 2023 action. We've got some more of the round of 16 coming up. We've got some losers bracket action. All stakes ahead with Argentina versus Netherlands in this matchup. I am Toph Daddy, one of your commentators. I'm joined by Sparky. How's it going?
It's going absolutely fantastic. Already at the end of the first half of this round of 16 weekend, same amount of matches as last weekend, except the fact that for some of these teams, the stakes are a lot higher. And like you mentioned, these two teams up on the chopping block, one of these two teams we'll be saying goodbye to at the end of this best of 11. It is going to be Argentina going up against the Netherlands, two historically pretty strong teams. A couple of roster shakeups for both of them over the past couple of years, but still looking to leave it all out on the playing field before us today.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how this matchup ends up going. Just from how they were performing last week, these two teams are incredibly well matched against each other. I think this is going to be a really close match. You know, maybe Argentina takes a little bit of an advantage when it comes like the rice category. They're a pretty strong rice team in general, and with the map pool getting a little bit harder, well, not a little bit, it gets notably harder. I think Argentina is going to be able to take a little bit of an advantage out. But Netherlands has a lot of strength under their belt. They're historically quite a good SV team. And then their LN and hybrid performances last week matched up pretty well to Argentina. So I could definitely see this going pretty far.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we were on the call for what was almost the first tiebreaker of round of 32. We haven't had any just yet. So far this entire tournament. Maybe these two, with how close they are, I think they were both just unfortunate first round matchups. Those higher seeded teams, just a little bit too much to overcome. We'll see if they can slug it out here for a shot at that quarterfinals pool.
Yeah, that round of 32, those round of 32 matchups can be pretty tough. You only really see those close matches coming in the middle seeds. You and I were almost there for that UK versus the Mexico tiebreaker, but that did not come to fruition and ended in a 5-3 finish. Best of has increased by 2 maps, so we first to 6 now, so not going to end in that situation. But the closest we've gotten to that tiebreaker is a 6-3 this weekend, and I want to say that this is the closest match we've seen so far, and I hope that comes to fruition. But we've already started to see the rolls. We got Argentina C90 getting that 26, and the Protect's coming out. It looks like that 26 actually won the roll.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. It happens, but it looks like they're going to protect liftoff here. So Rice 3 are going to be remaining in this map pool. I know we were talking about what the potential strategies were going to be for these teams, and I think we kind of came to the conclusion that Argentina was going to protect something in this Rice category, and Netherlands responding with LN2 as a protect.
Yeah, sorry, I had to amend a mistake. Netherlands won that roll, not Argentina. I had the order of protects and bans wrong in my own head. I thought it would go first protect, second ban, first pick, not first protect, second pick, or first ban. You know what I'm saying. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, we're not worried about it here. Our referee has everything under control, and I know we're going to get into the bans. Argentina, unsurprisingly, respecting the SV prowess of the Netherlands. Gonna take out SV2 here.
Indeed, and Netherlands will get their own ban as well. I assume one of the Rice picks, Happy Arnold Rice 6, is getting that ban hammer from the Netherlands, and they'll be able to follow this up with a first pick here. And I would almost expect SV1 to come out here. Or given their LN Protect, I could see them going with LN3 or LN1 or their Protect, LN2, and just trying to get that momentum going early.
Yeah, for sure. Everybody lamenting the loss of Happy Arnold. They have officially made him sad. You hate to see it here.
They've gotten rid of the best background in maybe the whole tournament.
We'll put heavy quotation marks on best, but it looks like your call correct. SV1 going to be the pick here for the Netherlands, just opting to get that out of the way immediately so they can get themselves on the board. Build up some momentum here as they proceed through this match.
Yeah, and like we mentioned, the Netherlands team historically very good at SVs, so I would almost expect them to have an advantage, but this is almost an entirely new Netherlands team. I think only 2 people are the same from last year, maybe 3. Shoira, Samuel H. Klumpers, and then Toxic Scent coming back from last year. And then a few new players coming in, so maybe something changed. But you never really know when it comes to these kinds of things, especially with an SV map as kind of straightforward as SV1 is here.
Yeah, there's always a little bit of risk involved, but I mean, historically, like we've been saying, Netherlands has produced some of the best SV players that we have seen outside of maybe a couple other countries in this tournament. So, I mean, even if they aren't the most proficient or like the most stand out of the Dutch players on the SV side, I'm pretty sure they can still hang toe-to-toe. And it's going to be up to Argentina, see if they can pull out a roster that can match up to it. Looks like it's going to be Boss Plays, Hydrocarburo, and August Gex here for them.
Indeed, and we should be getting underway. It looks like we got the good lucks coming out, and the empty start command should be coming through for map number 1 out of a possible 11 in this round of 16 matchup between Argentina and the Netherlands. Getting that SV map out of the way early so that the rest of the map is just, more straightforward, non-gimmicky maps. I'm sure as far as the players are concerned.
Yeah, so one less map to stress over. I think the most practice always gets committed to the SV charts. So we'll see how they do. Good luck to all the players, and let's see how they do.
Yeah, and something to kind of go along with that, like these players practice the SV map probably more than most of the other maps in this pool, is that you want to put out a play like the first map of the match. You want to make sure you're getting at least a decent score on, because you don't want those nerves to start spiking. And if you're starting with the map that you practice the most, that's going to give you a good opportunity to get those nerves out of the way early and play something you're confident in. And early on, we see a miss from Boss Plays, and that's already stretching that Netherlands lead to 30,000 points.
Yeah, for sure. This introduction not treating the Argentinian roster very well. Everybody in pretty much scattered around that S-rank range. 96s, 97s for August Gex, who falls, and Boss Plays as well. The only FC left for Hydrocarburo over there on the left-hand side. Meanwhile, everybody on the Netherlands holding on pretty strongly here, about to cross that 400 combo cap. A couple of 99s and that 198 from Samuel bringing up the rear there in support, but the lead has extended immensely, already crossing that 90,000 threshold here, going into the back half of the chart.
Yeah, it looked a little weird on August Gex's side. It looks like they're maybe not as practiced as the other players in this lobby, but it did look like that one drop just led into a whole bunch more, maybe rushing or just finding a misread somewhere in the middle of that, and that lead for the Netherlands now spiking up to 150,000. I don't know if anything can happen at this point. All 3 Netherlands players looking like they are super comfortable on this map. Lowest accuracy right now, 98.68%. Only one player on Argentina beating that, as Hydrocarburo takes that 99%, but well matched by Shoira there, and the Netherlands looking very comfortable on this.
Yeah, for sure. A very strong first pick, and the final FC for Argentina falls, going to the last quarter of the chart. I mean, to be fair, in their eyes, this is probably a bit of a write-off, a bit of a way to continue any potential warm-ups for them, because I don't think there was a world they would ever pick into this willingly against the Netherlands. So better to get it out of the way early, so they don't have to worry about it getting picked on them as a potential maybe final pick to close out a match.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a great way to get some of the Argentinian players, if they were just writing this off, this is a great way to introduce them to like the match feeling. And it's another way that you can start kind of getting rid of nerves, same way that the Netherlands might be getting rid of nerves by, doing something that they're super, super confident in. So we might be seeing some strategy on both sides, but that's a good pick from the Netherlands to start off the match. Puts them in a good bit of momentum. But it's Argentina's pick, and we saw that they protected a rice pick, so I could imagine them going for literally any of those.
For sure, 5 left on the board, and I mean, they're no slouches when it comes to the hybrid and LNs, but they're probably going to want to stick with what they know best, and it looks like it's going to be Infinity Rage. So Rice 2 coming out here, one of the 2 Falcom Sound Team maps we have in the pool.
Yeah, the other one protected by them, so they went with one protect, picked the other Trails map. So kind of doing a silly there, but this is going to be all about that accuracy. You got some 232 somewhat dense jump stream in parts, but most of it's pretty light. But it's also like littered with a few 1/6 streams, especially towards the end, and those can be super difficult to coordinate properly, especially if you're not ready for them.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like the main game these two are going to be playing is just keeping the ratios in check and just trying to mitigate any potential damage from either misreads or losing track of what's going on screen. Because like we were saying, there are a couple of spikes throughout this chart, and a little bit longer than some players are usually wanting to play, clocking in at 3 minutes exactly. So we'll see how they do here.
Yeah, we're kind of used to these longer kind of stamina-based maps being a little bit more of that like kind of brain turn off, focus super hard, and just like let your fingers move themselves. But this map, I think, is starting to introduce a little bit more of that, shifting variations in kind of the patterns that you're expected to be able to play, to the point where turning your brain off is not necessarily the best option, which maybe not the most comfortable idea for some of these players, especially those who really like to play jump stream.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if you hold the players, I mean, jump stream's basically a warm-up for them, especially when you cross into the sort of BPM range. Still pretty much in that comfortable range for them, but there are a couple on that tail end that do start to struggle here, so it'll be interesting to see how the players get on, as we have strong starts from all 6 players and a bit of a tug-of-war developing very early on in this map.
Yeah, we're seeing a nice matchup between Toxic Scent and Hydrocarburo there with that 99.85. Boss plays a little bit ahead of everyone else, but Limber falling behind the other 2 players on the Netherlands. So this is quite evenly matched in terms of accuracy. It looks like Argentina might have the very slightest lead in accuracy, but single 200s can definitely flop this as far as the score difference is concerned. And we're seeing a 200 from Limber there, and it looks like the Netherlands are very well matched up to perform well on this map.
Yeah, for sure. I think the strategy for Argentina is just try and hang on as best as possible while Boss plays historically one of their best accuracy players when it comes to Rice, just kind of gaps everybody else. Toxic Scent doing their best to try and stay toe-to-toe with them, but falling about a 10th behind in terms of the top of the lobby. It's going to be a battle on this bottom row. Hydrocarburo beating out Shoira at the moment. Meanwhile, Cube holding pretty steady for the moment, but actually falling below Limber right now, and it's going to help Argentina build up a tiny bit of a lead. But as we make our way into the back half of the chart, there's still plenty of room for error as we continue on here.
Yeah, we still have a most difficult of those single streams that I was talking about when it brings in the 1/6 patterns. We're starting to see a little bit of that now. And that's where I think the accuracy is going to be really, really important to keep, and especially that combo if you're caught off guard a little bit. But Cube continuing to drop just a little bit of accuracy. Limber able to take that advantage out on that bottom row. Everyone else pretty evenly matched. Hydrocarburo able to take over Shoira. Boss play is doing a good job. Oh, double miss! Limber and Cube both missing, but that was a bigger drop from Cube there, and that's going to extend that lead in Argentina's favor.
Yeah, for sure, a massive drop going into the last quarter. Answered back by Limber, but that extra drop going to do significant damage. And another one to boot here, starting to maybe lose the stamina here towards the end. A couple of jumps getting a little bit too much to bear for them, and still no breaks to speak of for them to try and recover here. They're down into the 98% range, and Argentina taking that and running with it. About a 40,000 point lead now as we're going into the last 8th of the chart.
Indeed, Cube having dropped below that 99%. maybe not even a stamina issue, but like I said, those 1/6 patterns can be very difficult. Maybe a little bit more stamina loss here. Cube finding a few more drops, but I think that will just put the nail in the coffin for Argentina, put the first point on the board for them, and we're at a 1-1 score line after 2 maps here. Very good opening picks from both teams, and both protects still open for these two.
Yeah, for sure. A great answer back from Argentina. That V1SS from Boss Plays backed up by Ito there with a 992 in their regard. Toxic Stand doing everything in their power to try and keep it close. 994, very impressive. Just not having the backup here to kind of see them through to the end. But I think Argentina had the advantage right from the early offset.
Yeah, it was looking pretty close for a while. There were some nice battles going on between people, but it's just that stamina, I think, that started creeping up on the Netherlands, and Argentina just didn't have the same stamina issues, and were able to hold combo for long. But it is Netherlands' pick. They pick their SV pick. There's no SV2 is banned out, so they still have their hybrid and long note maps. I imagine one of the long note maps is coming out given their protect.
Yeah, but I mean, the question becomes, do you go straight into that protect of the LN density of AO Infinity, or do you go for something maybe a little bit more technical in D-Orbit, or something a little bit more coordination based in Future Eve? It really depends on if you want to dip your toes into a different side of those structures, and gotta navigate it well. And it's gotta be Future Eve here.
Yeah, I think either Future Eve or D-Orbit would be the stronger picks from the Netherlands here. I mean, Argentina is an extremely strong Rice team. We just saw that on Infinity Rage. And I think, despite our Infinity being the protect from the Netherlands, I don't know if that would be the strongest pick, just because I think it's going to be the most comfortable of the long-up picks for the Argentinian players to handle because of its density focus.
Yeah, I always like to say that when it comes to LN density, it kind of brings Rice players back into the fold a little bit, especially because those short 1/4 LNs can kind of be played like jump stream after a certain bit if the BPM is high enough. And I think the BPM is high enough on that chart to be able to kind of swing a good run through it. So Future Eve, probably the safer pick for the Netherlands to start off this bottom half of the map pool on.
Yeah, this is going to be, I think this is going to be a really great tell for how this match will start moving out. Because the Netherlands, very strong long note team, but the overall scores that we saw from last round were pretty comparable between Argentina and the Netherlands. So if the difficulty jump did not affect Argentina as much as maybe the Netherlands is hoping, this could turn the tides of the match right into Argentina's hands, especially if Argentina is as strong at the rest of the Rice pool as they were on Infinity Rage.
For sure, plenty of stuff to watch out for, but we are going to get into this third map of this best of 11 Netherlands second pick here to come. Gonna dive into the LNs, see if they can handle the noodles as good as they did on the Rice.
The early patterning in this map causing a few accuracy drops. We see Ready Perfectly and Aga's Gex both dropping down to the low 99s. And as I say that, we see the first miss coming out from Aga's Gex, giving Netherlands an early lead here, 500 combo in.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a gambit paying off for the Netherlands at the moment. Sure, Ready Perfectly had a little bit of a rough start through that introduction, but able to hold on to the FC to back up both Toxic and Shoira here. Meanwhile, August not able to return the favor in kind to C90 and Boss Plays, who are doing their best. C90 highest accuracy for Argentina at the moment, but not able to stand up to Shoira's accuracy at the moment. 9.6 for them, kind of hovering around that range. Toxic bringing up their support as well in case something happens here as we get into this first key eye section, second third of the map upcoming. Structures get a lot more dense to read through. A lot of independent releases needed to be coordinated and Ready Perfectly not able to stand up to the task here. They've traded that miss back.
Yeah, and I think Agus Gex's was just after the 400 combo, so it's not like there's a huge difference between the combo advantage that's being gained out of this. But it looks like the accuracy drop from Ready Perfectly was a little bit larger than Agus Gex, and that's a 3,000 point lead as we hit the 400 combo mark now. That said, the accuracies are kind of all over the place. Boss plays a little bit at that low 99%. Toxic Scent taking the advantage over that, and Shoira above C90. It's just the accuracy difference between Ready Perfectly and Agus Gex giving Argentina the advantage right now.
Yeah, it is a triple-digit scoreline, and Boss Play is finding a little bit of a struggle here, falling down into that really low 99% mark during that calm section before the intensity starts to ramp up again, and they find the drop here.
And that's a second player missed. Bigger than if Agus Gex missed again. Now there's only one FC on the side of Argentina versus two from Toxic Scent and Shoira for the Netherlands. That is another drop from Ready Perfectly, but again, that was the one player who had already dropped, so that might be a little bit favorable for the Netherlands. This combo driving up really fast last note, and we might just see a 3,000 point lead for the Netherlands. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that was really close for comfort for the Netherlands, but they're able to pull it through off the back of Toxic Scent and Shoira already perfectly able to mitigate the damage from their drops. And pretty good opening here. But if you're Argentina, you do look at those scores and you're like, okay, we had this. We just need to clean up the next couple of LN runs, and we might be able to take a break point here if the Netherlands isn't too careful.
Yeah, that was you got to take a deep breath after that one. A little bit of a scary moment there, but still able to pull it out. No break points yet, and Argentina will be able to go into their own pick here. I imagine more rice is coming out. Yeah, there goes. We got both Falcon Sound Team songs coming out. The first protect of the match being picked here. Jack focused. I mean, pretty much exactly what we expect out of Argentina.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, a little bit of a more, not dedicated core Jack pick, but very much having those Jack elements to it. And for people that have seen some of the ridiculous scores Boss Plays has put out on Jack-oriented picks, I would not be surprised if we saw something close to a 999 coming out from them. I'm going to call it right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's two people in this lobby that I'm specifically looking at to get close to that 999, if not just being straight up on it. And luckily for us and for spectators, we got one on each team that I'm looking at.
Oh boy, so this is going to be a bit more of an accuracy shootout than Infinity Rage was, because this one definitely plays to the strengths of a lot of the players in this lobby. We see some substitutions coming out as the MP Star command comes out. Quinny Y going to be checking in for the Netherlands here to see if they can lend their support to potentially take the first breakpoint in this match. But this is going to be close to the end, I would hope.
Yeah, I think, that's kind of how Jack maps are. Unless you are a team that specifically has one or two players who aren't like quite at the physical level to get to these Jacks. These are a little bit less dense than most core Jacks that we expect, but they are quite fast. We've got that 141 BPM here, and that was a number we historically in MWC didn't see until maybe mid quarters or semifinals even. And we're already seeing an early break from Quinny Y in that on one of those early long no patterns. But as far as the Jacks go, I imagine the mistakes are going to start stopping here, unless outside of random misses that we see. But it's all about
Speaking of random misses,
that happens sometimes, and that was Quinny Y's was before 400 combo. That's going to give a nice little combo advantage to the Netherlands there, and they're already starting to take a tiny lead out from that one miss. And the accuracies across the board quite good. Boss plays that's super high, just like we expected. Shoira trying to climb back up, another player we'd probably expect to do very well on a map like this. But this score lead is just non-existent.
Yeah, especially as C90 has recovered from their drop. They're back up into that 99.7 range. Going to play a little bit of a tug of war with this leaderboard at the moment. It is hundreds of a points flickering between the two teams as the sporadic 300s start to come out. Everybody is dialed in at this point as we cross the midway point of the chart. Boss plays climbing up to the 99.99. Just normal human things, but they have August Gex in the back here, 99.93, able to stave off both Shoira and Toxic Scent. So Argentina relying on just hundreds of a percent of difference as C90 climbs back up into that 99.8 range as well. Quinny Y in that 99.7 range, gonna need to pick it up here, but C90 finds another drop.
And the lead goes back into the Netherlands' favor, but the lead's not. I think there might be enough time if C90 is clean. No, but that's August Gex as well. One combo left on Argentina, and Netherlands might be able to take this off of those two misses. We're coming up to the final few patterns of this map. We got about 20% of it left before we finish it off. Argentina now has to hope for a miss or two from the Netherlands if they want to take this, though their accuracy is helping them bring it back just a little bit, but they're running out of time.
And they might actually. That's the one danger of picking maps like this, is the fact that all 6 players are able to hold on to it. It's very black and white. A singular miss can spell the end of your team score. And
it got so close. Even without misses from Netherlands, that got down to 2,400 points. 23! 23!
And despite a 999,000 point run from Boss Plays, those 3 misses from C90 and August Gex, enough to seal their fate, and the Netherlands picks up a very unlikely breakpoint, but very well deserved at the end of the day, as they make it 1-3 now.
What an impressive showing from both teams. I did see someone call Boss Plays a boss bot on this map, and you know, that kind of score definitely does reflect that nickname.
Just Photoshop the auto mod next to their play screen, and it's pretty much the same thing with Boss Plays on maps like that. That is ridiculous. And Netherlands going to try and take advantage here. They're feeling themselves right now. LN2 going to come out their Protect now in response to try and capitalize.
This is going to be a scary one, I think. Future Eve was already really, really close, and I think Argentina will feel a tiny bit more comfortable on Al Infinity than Future Eve. And is it going to be enough to take that 3,500 points of favor that Netherlands had in the previous long note pick in their favor? I don't know, but it's going to be. I almost would have rather seen Diorbit come out from Netherlands here.
Potentially, or maybe even one of the hybrids. Potentially something like what's hybrid 1 is a pretty good shout.
Bad for me.
Yeah, bad for me might have been a pretty good one to rely on as well. There's some pretty
rough. Yeah, that could have been a good pick too. But we'll just have to see how this ends up going. It is their Protect. They have to feel pretty confident about this.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there are a couple of spots in this chart where there is a bit of coordination involved to try and keep your ratio in check, but overall, it's very much 1/4 traditional LN density. So Argentina might find themselves feeling like they can potentially take this breakpoint back.
Yeah, it's definitely not a crazy thought to think that Argentina could take a breakpoint back. I mean, the last 2 maps have both been within 4,000 points. That could have gone either way.
Yeah, for sure. Singular drops at that level. So here we go. Potential for Netherlands to make it 4-1, or Argentina gets this breakpoint back, and an opportunity to notch things up right after.
And here we go. This one is pretty long, so LN consistency is going to take a little bit of a requirement here for Al Infinity. But we'll just have to see which team is capable of keeping that consistency throughout the whole map. Some early accuracy drops. We see Hydrocarburo below the 99% just in that intro, but trying to build that back up. Might have just found a little bit of a rush. But some really good accuracy from Boss plays out the gate is helping Argentina hold on, and Samuel Klumper is having a little bit of issue holding on to their own accuracy. Hydrocarburo actually taking the lead over Samuel there, and looks like the accuracy lead just in favor of Argentina right now.
Yeah, right now everybody experiencing their own little 1v1s inside of this lobby. Boss plays versus Shora, C90 going up against Samuel, and Idro going up against Toxic here. Some Netherlands players actually holding the advantage in terms of accuracy over their Argentinian counterparts, able to grow this lead a little bit just based on the accuracy alone. And actually C90 finding the drop, I didn't even notice that going into the second third of the chart, accounting for some of that lead as well.
Yeah, just a small drop. It was pretty clean for the most part, still matching up with accuracy to Samuel H. Klumper's there, just with the misses, helping Netherlands take a 5,000 point lead, but that's still within even singular drops. And we've got some pretty weird patterns here, some changes in rhythm, which is definitely going to likely cause some issues with accuracy there. But it looks like Netherlands is doing a good job of maintaining their composure through this early part of it.
Yeah, for sure. And right now, as we get into this little bit of a build-up before the density starts to really ramp up once again, last quarter of the chart left to go. It is Netherlands still in the driver's seat, able to extend their lead. But as I say that, Samuel's spinning a couple of breaks here.
Yeah, that was a big drop, a lot bigger than C90's. But the accuracy lead might have been enough. It's going to be super even. Oh, but that's another miss from Netherlands. Scheuer takes a break. And now Argentina solidly in the lead as we hit the final section. No, don't disconnect. Please.
We're getting Bancho involved as well, trying to keep everything in sync here. There's too much going on to handle. Scheuer's miss is actually huge for Argentina to capitalize on. If they don't trade it back here towards the end, they potentially have this in the bag. That was the highest accuracy from the Netherlands, falling still highest accuracy for the Netherlands as they cross that 400 combo cap, once again able to mitigate some of the bleeding. But Argentina able to pull that breakpoint back to make it 2-3 now.
Yeah, incredible composure up in the ending by Argentina there, holding onto their combos, C90 especially locking themselves down after that early miss and holding on to take their own breakpoint and put themselves in a position to bring this back to an even match.
Yeah, and that was... we were calling it from the off here.
This is kind of funny. We have 2 breakpoints. They were on both teams' protects.
You know, that's just the way it goes. They just handshake the protects here sometimes.
That's how it works.
There's no way we get 3 in a row, right, Toph? We're not doing this again, right?
No, we're not. I'm not going to do this again.
I don't think my heart can take it a second week in a row. What do you go for if you are Argentina? There are 3 rice picks left up on the board.
I would call up Come Inside My Heart here. Rice 1. That's what I would go for in this situation. It looked like Netherlands was having a few stamina issues with especially those single streams in Infinity Rage. And I think Come Inside My Heart's a great way to kind of take an advantage out of that.
Yeah, it's a pretty good call there. See if they can outlast the Dutch once again. Just keep it straightforward. No real need to go into some of the techier maps in this pool. Good thing is Happy Arnold is banned out for... the Netherlands. They don't have to worry about going into something as crazy as that, but it is going to be Celsius coming out here.
Still makes sense. Rice 5. I mean, what?
Yeah,
it's going to be one of the rice picks
for sure. It was basically pick of the litter for Argentina, what they felt like going for in the moment, and it looks like they want to go for Rice 5, one of the shorter maps in that rice category, just under 2 minutes here. So these misses, these mistakes that have been coming out from these teams going to be amplified a little bit more than on some of these longer picks that we have seen so far.
This one a little bit shorter than the previous 2 rice picks we've seen. Some less about that consistency and more just about the pure rice capabilities. And I think that does help favor Argentina just a little bit. We saw Argentina do very well on rice last week, and I think that's only going to get better here as the map pools get harder.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to see Samuel check out. Quinny going to come back in for the Netherlands. Starting to see some anchors starting to develop here for both teams. Boss plays and Toxic. I think having played every map so far along with Shoira for the Dutch. So start to wonder how the stamina is on their respective ends. But they're no strangers to this stage. So probably have a lot left in the tank as we make our way into this mid-game range.
And here we go into pick number 6, Argentina's third, going for a straight rice battle here from Argentina's side, looking to even out this match, bring it to a best of 5 halfway through this match. And I mean, you kind of expect this kind of thing. I want to say that them protecting the Jack map was maybe a little bit of a misstep, because I think in general when you talk about Jack maps, they're going to be the most physically straightforward, and I think that's where it kind of ends up helping the Netherlands maybe take a lead.
Potentially, but there is always a little bit of risk involved, and as we make our way into this second quarter of the chart, we're already starting to see some accuracy discrepancies begin to develop. Everybody on the side of the Netherlands hovering in that 99.7 range. Meanwhile, you do have that one standout from C90 at the moment, but as I see it,
you can't say the names! You can't say their names!
Breaking rule number 1 on the desk for the millionth time, it feels like, but still able to recover pretty nicely. It was a pretty clean drop overall. Still in that 99.7 range. Once they cross over that 400 combo cap, you imagine you're going to start to make some inroads into this lead that the Netherlands has at the moment as we make our way into the back half of the chart now.
Yeah, that accuracy definitely pretty highly favoring Argentina here. We still have about half the map left, and it's only a 3,000 point lead for the Netherlands. I think this lead should definitely start shrinking very soon. Though it's good, it's not shrinking too quickly. It looks like Toxic Sense advantage over the 3 Argentinian players might be holding out a wall just a little bit. We're seeing a little bit of an accuracy drop on the side of Argentina there as well, though this is still just so close.
Yeah, so many flams to read through, a lot of broken up jump strings, and Boss Place finds the next drop, and now it might be the nail in the coffin for Argentina's run, not traded back by the Netherlands. 3 FC still holding on strong to the end of the chart, and C90 actually finding a little bit of a lag spike here. I imagine that's probably client. You'll see it come up and catch up in a little bit here, but it looks like the Netherlands able to take their 4th point here and another break point off of Argentina.
You gotta stop saying 3 breakpoints in a row. We're not doing this. We're not doing this again.
Yeah, it looks like the player might have left a little bit early before the map had fully finished. I'm pretty sure it finished on their end, but the delay causing a little bit of a funny situation there.
Indeed, and that is going to be a nice break point for the Netherlands. They'll have an opportunity to take advantage of it again. Now they don't have Owl Infinity, but they do have Deorbit available. Though at this point, it almost looks like our rice pick might be better for the Netherlands.
Yeah, potentially. They've been showing a pretty scary amount of consistency on these rice picks. Probably a little bit more consistency than Argentina was expecting. Able to put up a little bit more of a fight and actually flipping what we were expecting, where Argentina might have been able to put up a bit of a fight on the LNs. And they have for the most part here. So who knows, maybe a mid-match strategy change.
Yeah, it's almost like a swap from the two teams. I would almost expect Netherlands to go with one of the right... Oh, never mind. That's Deorbit. They're still going with their comfort. And they're going to try to take another point. They've only won one of the LN picks up to this point, and it was only by about 3,500 points. So this might be a little bit of a misstep. I would almost have gone with something more like... Yeah, maybe Hybrid 1, or I could even see one of the more rice-based hybrids if they wanted to feel a little more comfortable and still attack in that rice department where Argentina has been a little bit less consistent. But I still think this is an okay pick.
Yeah, I mean, you get to exhaust the LN pool. I imagine if we continue this trend that we're on, the hybrids are going to be the next order of business for the Netherlands. I mean, regardless, they're gonna have one more pick after this regardless. Actually, no. If they win this, and then if they take another break point, they won't have another pick. But
if they don't win one of the next two, they'll have another pick.
Yeah. So Hybrid's probably on the board before too long, and we'll see how the strategy evolves from there. And I don't know about you, Toph, but I feel like this is the hardest LN pick to get consistent scores on. Maybe not too physically demanding for the players, but there are just so many points in this chart that can cause quite a little bit of grief. A lot of reverse shields, a lot of shield patterning littered throughout that a lot of players seem to take issue with sometimes.
Yeah, there's a couple of specific types of patterns pretty littered throughout this chart that are pretty inconsistent as far as, players' abilities to keep combo and accuracy on them. Notably, there's a lot of shields throughout this map, as well as a few sections where that control and release capabilities are super highly tested. And those two things, I think, are going to cause some issues for maybe all of the players in this lobby. It hasn't looked like anyone has been incredibly comfortable on the LN side of things. Boss plays in the previous map did very well. Toxic Scent and Shoira as well. But it was just a matter of, Argentina being more consistent when it came to the density side of things. And this is not density.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of notes, but there's a method to the madness on this particular chart, and we're seeing a bit of jiggy starts across the entire lobby. Actually, Boss Plays and C90 able to hold on to some pristine accuracy. Meanwhile, everybody in that mid to low 99% range. But as I say that, starting to get traded back here, this lead is shrinking very rapidly for Argentina.
Yeah, no misses up to this point. That intro can be extremely difficult to keep combo on, but now we're getting into more of those release-based LNs where that control is really necessary and the accuracy is going to start dropping from these players. But it does look like Argentina holds on to a little bit of an accuracy lead. C90 and Boss Plays doing a good job of keeping themselves ahead of the crowd in the Netherlands.
Yeah, for sure. So really it's the battle between August and Quinny in the middle of everyone's screen. But C90 finding the first drop here, going to immediately shift this lead over to the Netherlands, but not by a significant margin. It was pretty clean overall, still retaining the lead in this lobby with that 99.6, but that drop's going to do a little bit of damage here, and the Netherlands
but that's Shoira finding it miss as well, but Agus gets trading that back. No, that's another trade. This is going back and forth. This is insane.
4 FCs up, 4 FCs down. The entire bottom half of this lobby trying to reestablish that 400 combo cap. C90, the next one to drop those elongated anchors, taking him for a little bit of a ride here. And Boss Plays the next one to drop all 3 FCs down on the side of Argentina. The Netherlands running away with this now, but Shoira finding the trade back. Toxic Scent, the only FC left in this lobby and holding strong for the Netherlands, accounting for a bulk of this lead.
There's only one player left, and he might just carry the team to a victory, bringing it to match point. A couple patterns left, and the Netherlands are looking strong enough to take that Toxic Scent, holding the only FC in the lobby. What a performance.
For sure, and they make it a match point situation. It is now 2-5, and I mean, that is a commendable performance from them, able to hold on, avoid any of the breaks, and put the Netherlands in the driver's seat now.
Indeed, but it is Argentina's pick. They do have a large selection of rice maps left under their disposal. They could also go for a hybrid if they feel more comfortable going for something like that, especially after losing the last 2 rice picks in a row.
Yeah, there's definitely stuff in their wheelhouse in that hybrid category. I feel like with a lot of these teams in the lower bracket, they're pretty set in being on opposite ends of the map pool. So this is really going to be a little bit of a mix-up area, and who knows, maybe they do trend away from the traditional rice, or maybe they go for something like rice 1, the only real standard pick left on that side of the pool.
Yeah, I was surprised to not see that come out before, but maybe they'll start to just, and there it is. Yeah, rice 1 comes out from the Argentinian team there. Making a last-ditch effort trying to keep themselves in this match. If they do lose this, they will be eliminated from the tournament. So this is, you know, it has to be the start of a comeback here, or else they will be knocked out. Big stakes coming up for Argentina. Netherlands looking to lock this match down and bring it home for themselves and move into the quarterfinals.
Yeah, Netherlands really holds all the cards in this situation. But if you are Argentina, if you can get this pick, there are no more LN picks left in the pool, and I feel like the hybrids have enough rice littered throughout them to keep the accuracies in check. They can kind of work their way through the LN sections of them without taking too much damage, and as long as they're able to hold on to their combos, maybe capitalize on any potential hiccups from the Netherlands, there's still avenues for Argentina to force a tiebreaker here.
Yeah, there definitely are. The Argentinian team has shown that they're capable of keeping it close, especially on a few of the picks that, you know, you wouldn't necessarily expect. Ao Infinity, they obviously took from the Netherlands as a break point, and they kept it very, very close on LN1, just having a few hiccups on LN3. So as the Netherlands, if the Netherlands are forced to pick into those hybrid pools, I could definitely see Argentina performing very well and managing to take those points. But they're going to have to start with Come Inside My Heart here as their next pick, as map number 8. And we see the MP settings coming out. Looks like we will be getting started soon. The Netherlands looking to lock this up. Argentina looking to stay alive. We'll see which one comes around.
Yeah, and a little bit of a roster shakeup for Argentina. No boss plays, no C90. You imagine them having played the bulk of these maps, maybe starting to feel it a little bit, taking a little bit of a break here for what could potentially be the start of a comeback. They're going to need to do it here on this map to get it started. It's going to be Idro, Limber, and August coming in here, and Quinny checking in for the Netherlands to round out this roster with Toxic Sen and Shoira.
Indeed, and this is going to be the 6 players coming in. Toxic and Shoira kind of knocking this out. I think they've been in on every single pick. So kind of putting the team on their backs, letting the third players come in and support them. But they've done a great job of being that rock that they need. And if they can do it again, they might just lock down this point. But they still have that Argentinian team to get through, who showed some very good strengths on Infinity Rage, especially when it came to those 1/6 patterns. And that might be the deal breaker when it comes to a map like this.
Yeah, good thing it says 40 seconds shorter, and they're able to hold on to the stamina for that little bit shorter duration. Might bode well for them as we get into this first real key eye section. Everybody strong starts across the board. Nobody below that 99.7 mark. As I say that, everybody's starting to flirt with it a little bit across the lobby, but so far 2-3 standout performances. Everybody trying to climb their way back up, settle in a little bit as we make our way into the second quarter of the chart.
This is absurd how close this 143 points after the first stream. What is going on?
This is everybody's bread and butter right now. They are all in their comfort zones. We have ties on opposite ends of the screen at the moment. They're separated by hundreds of a percent as a team. As we make our way into the second half of the chart now, there is very little separating these two rosters right now as the Netherlands ekes out the tiniest bit of an advantage, but for every 300 it feels like Argentina is able to claw it back just a little bit.
Yeah, just look at the accuracy consistency on the side of Netherlands. There is a there was a 0.02% accuracy difference between all three players. Quinny finding a couple 200s, dropping that, bringing it closer to Argentina there. The stream lasts a little longer. There's a miss from Quinny, matched up by Agus Gexen and Limber. That's 2 misses to 1, favoring Netherlands there.
But it is still 1,400 points, the difference between the two squads. Last quarter of the chart left to go. Limber and August need to get back up with that 400 combo cap, and fast if they want to try and wrestle this back. But as the stream starts to come out, this lead begins to explode in favor of
Shoira! 2 misses on each side, 1 full combo each, 3,000 points in the favor of Argentina right at the end. Limber misses though!
Oh, nobody wants to hold on to this lead right now. There's hundreds of points between the two teams.
They keep switching, and 944 points for Netherlands taking the point. Oh my goodness!
Oh, that is the textbook way of finishing this match out. There have been very fine margins these teams have been playing with, and the Netherlands just able to eke it out that little bit further, able to capitalize on the opportunities given to them, and they take the match by a score of 5-2, knocking Argentina out of the Mania World Cup.
What a match. That I don't know about you. I'm dizzy after that one.
I am on the edge of my seat right now, because that could have gone either way. This could have very easily been 5-2 in favor of Argentina.
Absolutely. There were 3 maps that were within 4,000 points in that match, and a few more that were within 1 or 2 more misses. Absolutely wild. Congratulations to the Netherlands for moving on into the quarterfinals in the losers bracket. Commiserations for the Argentinian team for being eliminated in the round of 16 losers bracket, but they put on a wonderful performance. Absolutely insane match, and what a wonderful way to send off our Saturday afternoon. Our next match is in about 7 hours, Sunday, 4 o'clock UTC, and that is going to be, looks like, Colombia versus Australia.
Oh, another, I believe, losers bracket match on the cards here. We're starting to get into the real thick of it, running through this losers bracket. Gonna say goodbye to some really, really good lineups. But Toph, do you have anything else left to add to what has been a very electrifying performance?
I'm not sure. I don't think I have anything else to say. This is going to be the end of the stream for a while. But it's been an exciting day of matches so far. We've got about half of the matches left, and I hope no one forgets that we're coming back in about 7 hours to continue the wonder that is round of 16.
Yep, you can see some of the matches already being played out. But until then, we will catch you guys later.